The last question and last topic is: were you taught to express your love for others? The reason I ask before everyone chimes in is, love is a tricky topic with men, right? A lot of times we hear publicly that men are taught to hide their feelings, suppress their feelings. There's even a song. There's even a song on one of Common's. The What's the album that Kanye produced for Common? The first one. I know what I'm talking about. Dead Poets were on the single. I'm gonna pull it up. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about.
I thought it
Common
was
Wrong.
B, right? Something like that.
Maybe. The album is called B. Um, so there's a lot of stuff that talks about love on Common's 2005 album B, and in one of the songs he says he chimes in about he goes in kind of deep about how men are taught to not express love and suppress love, and I'm just using that as a celebrity and a hip hop example, but we've all heard this plenty of times. It's something that's spoken about publicly and on the internet often. So I just was curious: were you guys taught to express your love for others? Yes, no, maybe.
Well, well, I'm sorry to do it, Ness. Because how to define it. People do it in different ways. But the first thing I thought about was having a sibling. I had an older brother,
Mm-hmm.
so you know I think that's kind of like learning firsthand of how to like somewhat express your love. You feel what I'm saying? And he's a male, of course. I'm a male, so you feel what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, like I, in certain ways, it probably wasn't like sitting down in class and was like, "Hey, do this, do that, do this, do that." But you probably was learning those things by seeing how people was expressing them around you.
Okay.
It's the best way I could describe it at the moment. Um,
Okay.
when I think
So
about
you
it.
feel like you were taught by seeing it in your surroundings and seeing your siblings doing it.
Yeah, seeing it in my surroundings, the way it was being expressed through the people that was expressing it. Um, but it wasn't something that was direct. Like people wasn't like, at least in my in my immediate household. It's funny, me and my cousin we talk about this. Like, going to my cousin crib, it was like, "I love you, good night, good morning." You feel what I'm saying? Like they would be saying it faithfully. "I love you, mom." "Oh, good night, mom. I love you." You know. So yeah, just seeing it in the surrounding in which I was
Okay.
in at the time I
All
was
right.
in it.
Got you. All right. Tez, Ness, Dex.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
taught to express love.
Go ahead,
Even in
Tez.
my Caribbean family, it was my parents was good. They taught me how to to express love to others and stuff like that. I would say that. Um, um, I think, and I think that now as a grown man, I think it's important to have that be good in that quality as in all the other manly things. You should be able to be just as good in that quality too. Of expressing love.
Okay. Go ahead, Tez.
I mean, same thing. I mean, just it's okay to show love. It's okay that I mean, in my olden age, I learned it's okay to be vulnerable and admit that your feelings and be open. It's what I preach, But are we taught like a sit down lesson and like there's a board type thing?
Yeah,
No, I'm
there's
exaggerating on the
examples you're
board, but
showing.
we're not taught that. We just hey, you should call your grandmother, or hey, you should do this, and it's life that teaches you that. It's to me, I try to teach it to my kids, and it's not grasping them until someone that they love, unfortunately, they lose it or they lose contact with someone that they love. They won't feel that. because it's that extreme. I feel like would make them sink it in. I'm trying to get my kids involved with my dad, and it's like, hey, call grandpa, and it's also, we live in a day and age where, just like me, I don't call nobody if they don't call me. Just the fuck's the point? I don't matter to you. Well, guess what? It's a two-way street now. And the reason why I can't really I can't really dive into this because I don't consider my blood family a family.
Gotcha.
I can say a portion of my family is here. You know, my family is within 10 fingers, and it's the way I keep it. And most of my family's not even blood, so the people I consider family is not blood. Uh, but that's it's time and experiences that teaches you how to properly love, and everybody loves different. It's not the same way. Everybody goes to different things, the different phases in their lives, and there's no proper way to teach someone how to love and care for someone, especially in a relationship, which is why we have what the last segment is, because we just want to love and be loved. But when it comes to everything else, it's just there's no handbook.
There's no handbook to it,
That's
period. Word.
that's true.
So, this is a big question, right? Because obviously, yeah, there's not going to be like a sit down lesson or whatever like that. And it is, what you observe and how you see people interact with each other that you learn that. Um, but it definitely is something that can happen where you can be taught that on purpose with your family and the people you're raised with. It may not always happen because sometimes you're taught, well, you gotta hold that in, because you can decide, well, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. I love my mom, my dad. I'm gonna go hug them and tell them I love them, and then you can be told, hey, that's not how you do that. Don't do that. Or it just could be the situation that it's in, and the child will pick it up as, well, maybe I shouldn't do this at all ever. And they can just learn different lessons from that. And it just changes for me. I don't think, like, at home specifically, I don't think I was really taught to express my love properly or to really understand my emotions healthfully. But as far as outside of like my home, with different, like even with my mom, it was definitely something that it was, well, I care about this person, I'm gonna beat them up, right? Like, not like playfully beat them up. And that's kind of like became my thing, like with people, is like, once I'm starting to get comfortable with you, I'll probably push you around, I'll grab you, whatever, just different things. And that's just me like showing my love because that's how I learned to express it. Um, and then as you grow, you realize, hey, not everybody expresses love the same way. Not everybody reads love the same way.
Fact.
So you have to learn, like, okay, how does this person really? That's where like love languages come in. So it's like, oh, okay, this person has this particular love language, and this is what they understand as expressing love. So okay, maybe I'll shift up a bit and do this with them once in a while. And they're always like giving me things because like that's their love language, is gifts. Okay, cool. Like, and then you start to understand like those different things. But it's really about being aware and being cognizant of like your emotions, other people's emotions, and that's not something that's like easily taught. But it definitely is something that you should be aware of, and even if you're not taught it, try to learn it as you get older.
That was great. Great way to break that down on multiple layers. This is really interesting for me to hear. My experience is different. Um, my family growing up was very big on the expression of love. Every night before you go to bed, it's "I love you." Phone calls before you hang up, it was "I love you." Um, That was, mom, dad, sister, and certain, like, cousins and grandparents and stuff. But then there was another side that was more like what Nestor said, like my uncle. Uh, he was in and out of prison a lot when I was a kid, and he didn't come and say, "Hey, I love you." He would play fight. He would take you shopping, And I remember what he used to like to slap box. And so he would come home and smack me in the face, and I'd be like, "Yo, what? Why are you hitting me? Like, I didn't even do anything wrong. Hitting is bad." And it's like, "Oh, this is what you mean. I'm playing around because I love you." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? You don't hit people because you love them. You hit people because you're in trouble. That's when you get a spanking or a smack or something." He's like, "No." And so he taught me about different types of love and expressing love. In my household, I remember there was a point when my sibling did not like expressing her love for certain family members. And there was literally a conversation about her not having to. And hey, it's okay if you love this person, but don't express it every single time. Yeah, this person fucks with you and makes you mad. And so, yeah, you're not going to be mad and say, "I love you." But it's important that you do let this person know that you love them, you know, on occasion. It's important for people to know, kind of have these reaffirming feelings. So, this is really interesting for me to hear you guys, who we all have expressed our love for each other, say this. And I'm not judging any of you, to be clear. It's just interesting to hear these different answers. My experience was very different, and I know even me as a parent, I tell my daughter I love her as much as I can, and my daughter is a "I love you" machine. Some of y'all have been around my daughter a lot, and y'all know that my daughter says "I love you" all the time. My daughter will say "I love you" 100 times in a day. And it'd be like back to back sometimes. It'd be, "Hey, I love you. Oh, I love you." And you'd be like, "Man, you just told me you love me. I love you too." You know what I'm saying? So, and even I remember when she was very young, she would just walk around saying "I love you" to anybody she thought was cool. It's like, "Oh, I love you. You're cool." And so I remember we had to have a conversation where it's like, okay, love is not just "I like you," right? Like, yeah, Nestor's cool, but that don't mean you have to tell Nestor you love him. Do you love Nestor? Do you know what that means? Do you know what these feelings are? Right. And so, my daughter has been around a lot of you guys a lot, and she
Mm.
loves y'all. What happened, Tez? Got you.
Yo,
And so, my daughter, it's really interesting to see how her expression of love manifests itself as well. And I just was interested in, my point of this podcast is to bring topics to the everyday guy, because there's a lot of shit that men of color are criticized for on the internet. And I want to kind of debunk some of these things and discuss some of these things, because maybe some of it does hold truth, maybe some of it doesn't. And something that me and Days speak about a lot is me and the way I express my emotions or don't express my emotions versus how Days handles his emotions, right? D, we talk about that a lot.
Mhm.
And so that's another reason I thought that this would be an interesting topic, because I know everyone here doesn't express things the same way. You know what I'm saying? And so I was curious because, yeah, like I started saying when I brought up the topic, a lot of people say men are not taught to love, men are not taught to express love. I don't think that's true. I think men are taught to express their love. I think it presents itself in different ways, as everyone here kind of said, right? Like the way I was taught or the way I observed may be different than the way the rest of you gentlemen did. And so I just thought it would be interesting to speak about, because I think it is important to express your love. I tell all you guys here that I love you. Maybe not every day, maybe not every time we text and talk, but I think it's important to make sure my people know, yeah, I do love you. I do care about you. I do want to help you when you need help, regardless of whether that's moving a couch or, whatever the hell, helping you with some other random thing, helping you research something, whatever the hell it might be, linking you to someone who can help you. And so, yes, as Nestor said, giving gifts and the way that you express your love is very different. And so, I think that part we kind of all know. I just was curious: do were we each taught as children to express our love, and if so, what way was that done? So that's why I brought it up. Because I was taught, and I know that everybody who knows me may not think that because I don't express my emotions as often as some other people do, but I do express love, and I think it's important that men express love for the people they love. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's your close friends, your family, uh, significant others, children, whoever. And I also think what Nestor said holds true, right? Knowing how each person expresses their love and how they receive things is also very important. You know,
Um,
personally, I hate that gift giving shit. I think people who don't say shit but shower people with gifts are doing those people a disservice, especially children. I know a
Absolutely.
lot of spoiled kids who all they get is gifts and they don't know shit about love. They don't know a damn thing. They just know, hey, I get new sneakers every time I see dad. That's not gonna help you later in life. And I know that's a different topic, but
Yeah, but
since Nestor brought up the gift giving thing, I just wanted to respond to that because those things drive me a little nuts. And I gotta be honest, this don't got shit to do with none of this, but I hate that love language bullshit. I see it all the time on dating apps and on the internet. But what's your love language?
What
My
does
love
that even
language is
mean?
shut the
What does
fuck
that
up.
even mean? What's
my
your love
love
I
language?
language
hate
is
that
all
love
of them.
language shit.
Love language is all of them.
Such
God damn it.
So there's a test that you take, and there are 5 love languages, if I'm correct. And I know the women watching are going to tear me apart, but it's fine. I don't really care. There are 5 quote unquote love languages, and you take this test, and it's supposed to tell you what are your love languages in the order of the 5. And so number 1 and 2 are the ones that most people put on their dating profiles or walk around saying, but it tells you based on your answers what are your love languages. It's basically how do you receive
Hmm.
love and how do you express love. I'll pull them up. I don't have a problem reading it off.
Well,
But
you know, nowadays we are in like such a copycat industry that it's like people are just regurgitating things that they're constantly seeing on the internet. You know, especially
yeah,
when
and
you
people
if
want
you're
people
talking
want
to.
shit to rep. That's the other thing. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
also part
we
of this
this
rep
you
mentality where
well well
I
people
gotta rep my sign. I
well
gotta
people
rep
ain't
my
cool.
hood. I
That's
gotta
what we
rep my love
realizing.
language.
We realizing that they ain't cool. Niggas ain't original. You remember back in the day, you could tell if a person was authentic based on their style. You had to be next to them. You understand what I'm saying? Now people could watch your style from a distance and just emulate to where it could be like 45,000 of you in so many different places emulating your whole style. You get what I'm saying? It's a copycat industry. So it's like whatever Jay's confident admitting and being open to and wearing with such confidence, you if you do it enough, people will start to, you know, your influence will build and people will start to follow and they feel so comfortable with the same thing now. You understand what I'm saying? That it becomes a
Got you.
culture. It becomes like a culture, for like a better
Or a
word
part
for it.
of.
All part of, yeah. Acceptance.
So here are the 5 love languages. Words of affirmation. This language uses words to affirm other people. Acts of service. For these people, actions speak louder than words. Receiving gifts. For some people, what makes them feel most love is to receive the gift. Receive a gift. Quality time. This language is all about giving the other person your undivided attention. Physical touch. To this person, nothing speaks more deeply than appropriate touch. Those are the five
Okay.
love languages of bullshit. I think I think it's another thing to rep. I think it's another thing to be a part of. And if we're really gonna dive into it, which that was not our topic, but if we're really gonna dive into it, most
Right.
people like
Right.
all of those things at some point or another.
Yes.
Like most people
Yes.
appreciate most people will appreciate a gift. appreciate being touched appropriately, all of the
I
things.
think
Like
they'll
all
appreciate
of
all of that at one time. You could give them all of that in one night
Talk that.
at
Talk
one
that. Talk that.
time, and I think
Talk
they
that.
would absorb all of
Talk
it.
that.
You feel what
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying? Like, come on. Think about it. Think about it. He broke it down. We talking about words of affirmation. We talking about touch. We talking about gifts. We talking about time. You usually do that. You feel what I'm saying? I guess just at some
so
point
and
somebody.
then my thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
No,
Days.
I was
Sorry.
just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say. I guess at some point somebody messed it up. I was saying that to somebody the other day. Sometimes people talk themselves out of shit, act themselves out of shit, behave their way out of shit.
Great minds think alike. Because that's where I was going. Go ahead, Tez. I saw
Oh,
your
okay,
hand.
all right. Come on, Tad.
I mean, so I'm gonna be a little transparent. The reason I didn't talk about the polyamorous stuff because I just got out of a relationship with that stuff, and feelings are still bare ass. You know, they're still raw. I'm gonna tell you this: that love language thing. I'm not saying it's bullshit. Listen, people operate different ways, and we live in a day and age where everybody needs a label or some type of affirmation to acknowledge the way they feel, and I get it. I learned a lot in this relationship. I still have feelings for this person, and I'm happy that we're still friends, and that's it. However, when I'm in love with someone, like I was in love with this person, I'm giving them everything that I can, that I'm willing to give. You know, you can say the Meatloaf song all you want. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Yeah, that's me. I would do anything that won't change my characteristics of who I am. I'm not selling myself out for somebody, but you want to know something? If you're with me and you have me as your partner, you have 100% of what I can offer you in a relationship. So that includes the gift givings, that includes the attention, that includes, the
All five.
affirmations, I got all the Dragon Balls. I got all of them. I'm
That's
Thanos
right.
in this. Whatever. I don't watch that shit. I'm Thanos. I'm giving you everything that I can. In return, all I want to do is feel love. That's it. And feeling love is not an item to me. It's not. It's not about let's sleep together 1,000 times. That's not love. Love to me is being around. Like wanting to be around me, or that little quick text message in the morning because I just thought about you. How you doing? How's your day? Have a good day. What it could be the small things. All that shit adds up to me. I don't need a fancy house. I don't need a fancy car. I don't need, the latest pair of J's or the newest video game type bullshit. All I want is a person to love me for me. Not what I can offer them, not what I bring to the table, but because we have this connection towards one another. So that love language thing to me, I'm like Jay, I don't agree with it in a way, but I respect it because some people need it. But yeah, that's pretty
I
much how I
think
feel about
that
that.
and first of all, thank you for your transparency and for chiming in. I think that what happens is, like Days was saying, that's kind of where I was going. Is if you put on your dating profile, for example, my love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. So that means I never got to buy you a gift, right? I can't buy you gifts. It's against the rules. I can't give you gifts. Receiving gifts is no good for you then, right? You've taken that off the table. So don't ask me why I don't buy you flowers, why I didn't get you the new vibrator. None of that. You said, so I don't got to give you quality time neither. I could see you once a month and it's all good as long as physical touch and affirmations are involved, right? If I tell you every day you're beautiful, I love you, that's good enough. I don't gotta see you on a reg, right? You don't deserve quality time. Matter of fact, you don't even like quality time, you said. That's what you said.
Let's see
So
politically
don't ask
correct.
me.
Let's see politically
On, son.
correct.
Like, it's stupid. Like, you mean to tell me if you said affirmations, I see you, Ness. I see you. 1 second. If you said, yo, affirmation and physical touch, so then that means you can't even complain. I should never even think it's wrong of me to think of spending quality time with you. I shouldn't say, hey, I got vacation for a week. I'm gonna just spend my whole week with you and give you all my time because you only want physical touch and affirmations. Come on, everyone needs different things at different times.
Yeah,
Today, listen, you might be having a really hard week, and so maybe you need quality time and don't want to be touched at all.
correct.
Maybe you just, man, I really need my loved ones around me right now. Nana passed, and I'm going through it. Nana was my favorite. Nana actually raised me, and so I need you around. But now what I'm gonna say? Nah, remember when I met you? Your dating profile said words of affirmation and physical touch. So I love you, and I'll touch you whenever you want, but I can't spend this week with you.
Yo,
Come on, son. Go ahead, Ness.
son.
So I think so. It's crazy that there's a test for it. I think you just need to be aware of like your emotions and how you express them. Like you really don't need a test to tell you that if
Asking for a
you
lot for some
are
people.
self-aware. And sure, there's some people that aren't
Yeah.
100% self-aware.
Sorry, Ness. Days caught me off guard, but he's right.
I think it's not, hey, this is the only way I express love, but I value these things higher. It's the same thing like when we had the types conversation. There are certain things you're going to value higher than others, regardless if, oh, this is cool, this is awesome, this is nice, this feels good. There's still going to be those things. So, like
But
for
don't those
me,
things change?
one of those things is physical touch. They definitely can change depending on your mood, but a lot of the times that's the go-to. Those are the things. Like I said, like for me it's physical touch. Like it's a way I feel grounded. It's how I like, if you can stand touching me, I can stand touching you, like whatever, then I feel like okay, shit is cool. Like I was going bananas like when 2020 and all that was happening because like I love giving hugs. Like that's my thing, and it just was driving me crazy because I couldn't do that beyond just my home with my wife, and that's it. Like there was no one else to interact with in that
I
way
ain't gonna hug.
during
He's just a hug machine.
that.
You know,
I ain't gonna. I ain't gonna
So
hug.
it's,
I'm just saying.
you get hugs, okay? So yeah, so it's just there's just different things that I feel people put of higher value at certain times. And that's all that really is. That's all that love language thing is just, hey, I value this a little bit more than I value that. Because these are the ways that I've expressed love or have love expressed to me. And this is what I'll recognize immediately versus all of these things are really cool because they do, they are nice touches, and you can understand that, like, oh yes, that person is expressing their love for me in a way. But like they'll value other things higher because they're like, hey, why don't they do this for me, or why don't they ever like touch me in these they'll notice like those little things that aren't happening more than they'll notice the little things that are.
do you think it
Mhm.
could vary? Do you think it could vary based on the person you're dealing with at the
As
time?
far as
Based on the person you're dealing with at the time, it could vary.
if you understand the other person, how they express their love, then sure, it could vary, because if you're someone that's like, well, I know that they do this way, but also like you need your nourishment, you need your whatever it is as well. So it can't just always be them satisfying uh the way they express things. You also need those moments as well.
I think
There's
something you
always
said too that's
it's just a
important.
matter of that there's always something you'll value higher.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that because you was talking about, because before you mentioned the point about valuing things higher, you mentioned something about awareness. That's why I laughed. I was like, oh man, you're asking for a lot. But I think all jokes aside, I think that those moments are important. I think it's important for you to be aware in that moment of what you're experiencing and what you're feeling, because those moments are very telling. It'll be able to identify what those things are. I know you guys may think those things are bullshit, but to a certain degree I think there's certain aspects of that has some truth. Like, remember what I said on the other part? Like, I think a lot of these things was always going on around us, but now they're adding different titles and terms to it so people could identify it. But I always think in some way, we were definitely being affected or having these experiences, but we didn't have the titles for them. You know, I could think back when I, had certain relationships and when I was with certain girls who were very affectionate, how I felt, being with them and how I felt in those moments and how I felt more drawn to them, in those moments. But then I also think about where those things could stem from. You understand what I'm saying? Like my grandma. My grandma was very affectionate. My mother's mom was very affectionate. You understand what I'm saying? And I do remember those moments. I remember how I felt, how they made me feel. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and I think to a certain extent, that's where those things could stem from. Some people are probably like identifying with, those moments and those feelings of love or that expression of love or affirmation or whatever you want to express. Because just like you was saying, you was making jokes, but a person could say, yo, my love language is time and touch. But I could guarantee you, if somebody's splurging on their ass, they ain't gonna say no. You feel what I'm saying? They ain't gonna be like, wait. That is not my love language. But you know what? I love that Louis
Right.
bag. I love that selfie. You know what I'm saying? Oh, those
Right.
flowers, that's not my love language, but roses are so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, come on. I think it does vary. I think we could wake up feeling different too. I think, didn't you say that, Jay? Like, you could wake up feeling different
Yes.
too, at that
Yeah, because
particular
that's
moment.
that's my whole thing. Like, I get that people want to identify, and there's the thing on the internet is a label for everything, so we could all identify and rep
Yes.
our set, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go through the millions of things, but that's the thing. Everything has a term now. On my solo pod, I make fun of that all the time. Oh, if you're doing this, you're quiet quitting. If your supervisor's doing this, he's quiet firing. If you put your hands this way, you're cock shaming. Yo, son, everything has a term. Everything has a term, and that's something I make fun of on my solo podcast a lot. Everything
Yeah.
has a term because people want to be able to put labels, which I think, which I said on my
And
most
sound
recent episode.
intellectual, I think too. I think that's a whole nother.
But that's the thing, right? It's weird because we live in this time when we're saying diversity is very important, inclusion is very important, but really we're doing the opposite. Really, we're saying, oh, Tez does this, so he's this label. Ness does that, he's this other label. But why we need 8 million labels for everything if we're being inclusionary and diverse? It's bullshit. That's my issue. So it's not that these things, I'm not saying these 5 things are not legit. I'm saying people repping them and marrying themselves to these terms are the problem.
Well, they
Yeah,
being
if
over
today I feel
analytical.
sad, what'd you say?
I said, well, they being so over analytical, like
But that's what I'm
over
saying, right? Like,
analytical.
but that's my point. Like, why are you marrying yourself to these terms when idealistically it doesn't make sense? It's gonna change. Like, I get Nestor's point of saying I value this one more most of the time, but that doesn't mean Nestor doesn't require the other
Correct.
four,
Correct.
and it
Yeah, I
doesn't
like
mean
that.
that won't change. Yeah, like,
Yes.
and
It
I
leaves
think
room.
even the
I'm sorry.
what happened?
I say it leaves room. It leaves room for,
Of course.
transitional periods.
Because listen, human beings are very layered creatures. What we need on a daily basis changes. And in life, period. Look, hey, listen, I'm going outside today. I'm not cold. I don't need a jacket. But tomorrow it's going to be brick and snowing. I'm going to need a jacket and a hat. And I'm being silly, but it's the same thing.
No, you're
Like,
right.
it's the same thing. Listen, like the example I said. Hey, Nana passed away. I'm going through a real hard time. As much as I may usually not want quality time, yeah, I want my significant other to spend as much time with me as possible. But I may not always need that. Maybe after Nana, before Nana passed, I may say, actually, I don't need the quality time on the same level. Maybe right now I'm going through this phase where I need a lot of physical touch. Maybe not even sexual.
Hmm.
Maybe like Nestor said, hugs. Hey, fellas, can we get a group hug? I'm sad today. Maybe that's all I need today is lots of hugs. My point is we marrying ourselves to these terms when idealistic, when not for idealistically, when in reality we're so much deeper than the shit we marry ourselves to. Oh, I'm a carnivore. Oh, nigga, so you just hunt and eat meat. You don't eat shit else. You don't enjoy a berry or a banana ever in life because you're a carnivore. Oh, I'm paleo. I only eat fats and yo son. So you never gonna. So if I offer you a baked potato, that's no good. You'll never in your life eat a baked potato, right? Like it's just stupid. We marry ourselves to all of these terms when human beings are an entire spectrum. Each of us, what we require, what we desire, what we
It's
choose
telling
to be
though.
around is telling.
Like it's I'm sorry, but you're giving a lot of examples, and it's like, and it goes back to something that I was saying earlier. Like just the idea of it is very telling. Like just to see, judging by social media. Like I see a lot of things on social media. I don't say nothing, but you can see how, like they say, trees without roots, they just blow in the wind. One week a person be
That's a
over
fact.
here, then the next week a person be over here, then the next week a person be over here. But that's what I'm saying. If you're that observant and that analytical, then you can see who is solid and who's authentic because they standing firm versus the people who blowing every which way every day of the week. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feel me? So yeah, that's another point that I'm making too. It's very telling. You get what I'm saying? That now when something pops up every week, people are now a part of that. And then they're part of this. And then they're part of that. And it just shows you something that we kind of could have seen back in the day. You seen that it was people who was copycats who they will literally, somebody will say something a certain way and you see the person say it the same way that they did. And you looking like, bro, you don't even talk like that. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? But you see that level of influence on social media. You understand what I'm saying? Because it gives you that reach. You know, I remember
Right.
somebody was making examples about like style and dressing. How you didn't have the privilege of seeing somebody dressed in Seattle unless you went to Seattle. You understand what I'm saying? Etc. 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 That's why they
Yeah.
saying now you could really go places and people really look like cats from New York or people really looking like each other overall as a whole because all of these stylistic expressions is being expressed on social media in abundance. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, man. I
It's everybody's a bit of every part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't. Yeah, I agree in the fact that you can't just pinpoint one. It sounds silly. It just sounds silly. You know what I mean? We all, like you said, you know, I need a coat tomorrow. It's gonna snow. I gotta put on some boots tomorrow. You know, I'm not gonna be out in flip flops tomorrow. But I like flip flops on this day. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just yeah, it sounds just trying to commercialize something or market something pretty much to me. That's all I get from that cornball. But
yes.
we know we're all that. We're all part of all. We have all those
I like what Ness said.
desires at one time or another. So but it's yeah, in perfect way. Yeah,
I like what Ness said. Ness said you might favor them more at
yeah.
different points of times, and I could agree with that. I could agree with that. I think that's what
Yeah.
people mean when they say, "Yo, this is my love language." I
Mm,
think they're just saying like, I favor this one more. In certain
mm.
times I might like this one more, or I might lean more towards this one. You get what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. I just think marrying ourselves to all of these terms is silly and divisive. And that's my thing. It's like, oh well, if it's not physical touch, it's like so now let's just say, right? All right, so this is it, right? And then I'll shut up. Let's say going back to the dating profile, right? They said words of affirmation and physical touch. But if I think quality time is the best, guess what? Now we've divided ourselves because, well, I only like
Mm.
to express my love language through quality time. So those people, I can't fuck with y'all. It's just more divisiveness.
Mhm.
Capricorn versus Taurus. Physical touch versus words of affirmation. Black versus white. Rich versus poor. Middle, like it's a lot. It's just like, yo, we are just dividing ourselves off so often. And I know this is like, oh man, here Jay go with the society shit, but it's like, it's true. I just see like, oh well, Nestor wears hats. I don't wear hats, so I can't fuck with Nestor. If Nestor not gonna ever take his hat off, he can't keep being on my
Fact,
pod. Like,
fact,
stop.
fact.
Like, people are people, and they are just so complex. being a human, that's one of the many things that separates us from the animals. Like a lion is just a lion. Like that lion is going to be the same most of the time. Humans are way more complex creatures. We're way more complex, and I think just like we like to divide ourselves from others so much, and really unity is the answer. We're all people. Like if we continue to give ourselves all of these levels of separation, I don't see how we thrive.
I think it's based on definition and status. I forgot who was saying it, but somebody was saying like y'all don't want to be defined because he's like once people define you, you kind of can't grow from that. And I think that's the issue. You know, you defining yourselves and not leaving room for growth, trial and error, flexibility. Because now it goes back to your point. Let's say, you know, all right, these are your physical touch. Now on the days that you don't want those things and you want those other things, guess what? Now you leave yourself open for scrutiny because you saying, yo, my I only do physical touch and acts of service. Well, today nigga want to give you a gift and you open to it. But because you said these two things specifically, you leave yourself open for scrutiny. But now you over here trying to justify when all you got to do is just be open. You feel what I'm saying? Don't limit yourself to any titles or definitions because like we said, you may wake up feeling different on Monday, and that's okay. That's life. That's life. It's okay to wake up feeling different on Monday and then regroup on Tuesday and then readjust on Wednesday. We could go down the line. That's fine. And you have to be okay with that. You know, it ain't about if
Go ahead,
everybody's
Ness. I
okay
see you.
with that. You got to be okay with that.
Sorry, Days.
Oh no, it's fine.
So I think it like I said before, it's about a level of self-awareness, right? So I'm aware that this is right the main way that I express my love. But you're gonna if you do go in a different direction, you're gonna open yourself up to scrutiny only from people that don't realize that people are fluid and can express themselves in different way regardless of their preferred form.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody that's gonna be like, okay, well, this is what they usually do, they're doing something different today, then they can be aware that the person is not set in what their expression is. Because again, like I said, you when you're doing these things, you have to be aware what how the other person feels most comfortable as well. Like if I know that my way is physical touch and someone else cannot stand to be touched, I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to sit there and constantly grab them and give them hugs and whatever. I'll find out what works best for them, and that's what I'll do. I'll find that middle ground. And so if someone sits there and they're like, well, I thought you said your love language was physical touch. Why do you never touch them? Why are you only, ever giving them gifts and this and that? I'm like, well, they don't like to be touched. And I'm aware of that.
But
and
it may vary though.
I can change with that because, whatever. Exactly. But the whole thing is you said that you're opening yourself up to scrutiny. You're only opening yourself up to scrutiny to people that don't realize that people are flexible.
No, I said if you're being direct,
that's even though I say that like this is most important.
Yeah, but that's why you have to be careful when being
that's
direct.
What I'm saying. Yeah. Like I will to the end of time say that my love language is physical touch. I will say that to the end of time, right? Physical touch and obviously quality time, right? Because how else I'm going to touch a person if I'm not spending time with them, right? So obviously those kind of go hand in hand. But like for me, right, gifts aren't as important. They're like at the bottom for me. I don't care.
You're not going to turn it away though.
I'm not a big gift giver.
Are you?
Because that's what the person chooses to do for me.
No, but they're choosing to do it for you because they care for you, right? That's what I'm saying. It's all part of the whole love aspect.
Right.
Love is
I understand
full spectrum of things,
right? And I understand that that's what they do. Exactly, I understand it's what they do. And if someone's gonna scrutinize me because I say my love language is touch and I'm accepting gifts, right?
If they scrutinize you,
then it is on me.
I hear
that's
you.
Telling that they are not aware that
Yeah, but we're in a world
Right.
where if you're
Exactly. They're not aware that people have flexibility.
but they're not making people aware of it because they're being very direct. Like someone like myself, I could be very direct at times. If I'm being that direct, there is no room. There's no wiggle room. So when you're that direct, there is no wiggle room. So when there is no wiggle room, sometimes you can leave yourself open for scrutiny because there is no wiggle room. You understand what I'm saying? Shit can happen. That's like you telling me, yo, bro, I'm gonna be there at 8 o'clock, and I'm expecting for you to be there at 8 o'clock, but your Uber caught a flat. Now you running 20 minutes late. Now a person could be that direct that you told them that your Uber caught a flat, but they still upset that you couldn't make it at 8 o'clock, bro. I'll be looking at that person that's still mad, like, yo, bro, cut them some slack, bro. Shit happens. That conversation is the flexibility part. But you see how they so direct, like he told me he was gonna be here at 8 though. That's some people. Some people will really hold you to that shit strongly. Like you said you was gonna be at 8 o'clock. Like,
Right.
bro, but
And
my
that's
Uber caught a flat
telling
on the
on them.
highway. I feel you. You say I feel you, but to a certain degree, it's quite telling on you too. You feel what I'm saying? Like you got to give yourself room for flexibility. You understand what I'm saying? When you're
I
being
think. Oh, go ahead. Finish, Dave.
no, because that's what I'm saying. What we seeing on the dating apps. I'm just talking about somebody saying that specifically. That's very direct. You understand what I'm? Yo, this is my love language, touch, and my love language is hug. That's very direct to the point that you made a joke about it. That's why you say, yo, all right, so then I can't give you no gifts because you ain't accepting no gifts. Why? Because that's very direct. This is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Like, does that sound like I'm willing to bend? Does that sound like I'm willing to waver? That's what I'm
No, but I think.
right.
Go ahead.
No, I agree or disagree. Does it sound like I'm willing to waver?
It does not sound like you're willing to bend. And I think what happens is something that Nestor says very often on this podcast, which is that what's most important in all relationships is communication.
Correct.
And so if Nestor is telling his partner, hey, this is my preference, but I'm open to the others, well, then they can communicate. And see, me personally, even though I'm against all of this bullshit, I try to adhere to what my partner's desires are. And so this would be part of that. If I'm in a relationship and my lady is telling me, hey, I like to really shower my people with gifts. And I'm not a person who likes a lot of gifts, then we got to have a conversation. Now, you can't give me 30 gifts this month. It's too much for me. It's overkill. But
Overwhelming.
maybe
Yeah.
we can meet at 15. It's I think it all comes down to that. In the debate you guys are kind of having, I think that's the answer. I think that's the resolution to whether they're firm or flexible on any matter, right? And
Correct.
Nestor can chime in, but I think that's really what the answer is in your guys' debate. I think the answer is
Yeah.
communicating with your partner, whether that's sexual, whether that's love languages, whether that's
Well, I'm just
finances.
talking
I
about
think
off face value. When somebody, I'm going off of your example that you gave about dating apps. Once somebody see that on face value, that doesn't show flexibility. Now, once we get
oh
past that, and that's what you're saying. Once we get past that profile, specificity, and then we start to have a conversation. Oh yeah, then it might open up to other things. But off of face value, that's saying, yo, this is what it is. You feel what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes, that I agree with. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ness. Or you got no response.
No, yeah. What you said is it, because even regardless of whatever it is you see, especially if we're talking about like dating apps, like you guys still have to have a conversation at some point.
No, we don't.
That
No, we don't.
it could be part of the conversation. Is
Oh, you don't?
No, because if I see my love,
Never-
I'm gonna keep
you're
it
not
real.
even gonna say hi?
See, that's
Like,
going
no.
to my point. Go ahead, Jay.
No,
okay.
I'm going right past that profile. I'm pressing no or swiping
Okay.
left, whatever the fuck it is on that app. If your shit say love languages, I'm just next. You don't got to talk about shit.
Somebody was telling me about data apps the other day. Shorty said, she said, please don't. She was just giving examples about what not to put in the bio and some things she see. And she was saying like, she hate when people be like, oh, don't waste my time and this and that. And see that was her example. She's saying like, soon as she sees somebody put that, she like, nah, I'm good. because it's giving
Yeah.
off a certain impression. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying about being direct. And that's when you put stuff like that, that directly jump out to people. That don't say flexibility. Oh, well, don't waste my time if you can't. Oh, all right, so I ain't wasting your time. I ain't gonna waste mine either.
Yeah.
Next. You feel what I'm saying?
That I'm sorry, Ness. I'm not trying to be a contrarian, but that's the way I look at it. When
No,
wanna
I mean,
have-
no. Like,
Or even at a
Ev-
bar. Like if I'm at a bar and I'm like, man, she looks great. I would love to have a conversation with her. And me and a woman spark up a conversation. She's like, well, before we even talk about it, let me just tell you what my love languages are. I'm like, oh, okay.
What's your
let me
sign?
because I don't.
You man. Oh, I know Capricorn. Oh, I'm off this. I'm out.
I'm out.
I know
See
you.
later.
I dated 3
I'm sorry, I
Capricorns in
can't.
high school. Oh my God.
Son.
I'm done.
Yeah. So
That's what I'm saying. That's
That's
so
what I
I
direct.
definitely
But
think
yeah.
those are two different things. Yeah, that's definitely two different things. Because if you approach a dating profile as if like that's the first thing they're telling you in the street, that's definitely like not the same thing. But also, I mean, you have every right to say, hey, this is my red flag. That's it. Like, I'm not gonna deal with that. That's definitely a no for me.
Listen,
That's fine.
on the
There's
dating apps,
definitely not a problem with that.
I don't know. On the dating apps, there's a lot of questions you chose to answer and thought it was important enough for us to know. Or
That's what I'm saying.
you didn't wait until we spoke. That is the first thing on your profile. You thought that shit was important. I'm sorry, man. I love you.
So fat.
I love you,
I'm
but
sorry.
I'm sorry, son.
I'm like-
if you thought that, son, I'm just being honest. Like that's like if
I
you go on my
appreciate
dating
it.
profile. Just being real, like that's like you go on my dating profile and the first thing I put is you. If you don't got double D titties, don't bother.
Son,
That's crazy.
that's direct like a month.
That I listen. You can put whatever you want up there. You thought double D titties was important enough to put at the beginning of your profile. That says something to me.
That's a fact. And it don't tell me that you looking for A's or cups. No,
D's,
no,
C's, F's,
no.
nothing. Only double D's. That's
little,
crazy.
Little titty
So-
bitches is excuse me, little titty chicks is swiping past. They swipe it.
I mean, saying only one thing is different from saying
But that's what they got, Ness. Like, son, I'll
saying
put
only one thing is different.
But that's what I'm saying. On the profile, it will say my love language is because a lot of the dating apps have like prompts now where you can answer questions to be like conversation starters. And they will choose that prompt and it will say, my love language is whatever. Like, let's go with yours. My love language is physical touch. You thought that was important to put that as
And he
the
was
very first thing
intentional.
on your
I
profile.
forgot to leave that part, which means you're intentional.
But you're not saying
You're
like
intentional.
everybody else need not apply. Like it's just this is how I express my love, or this is how this is what I value most in that. That to me
But you want people
That's
that
what I
do
see
that
when I
too.
see it.
That's also
is this is what I value higher.
but that's also saying that they want people that do that too.
Yes and no.
Like usually, like it's crazy. Like I ain't going front, man. Usually when
Sometimes sure.
when I come across people that be like, oh, I'm not that affectionate, I'm already in my mind saying like, I'm already in my mind like, because I've been in relationships where they not as affectionate, and I know how I feel in that, and I don't. Why would I put myself in that situation? Like, yeah, my love language is this, and you putting that out there saying like, yo, this is what I could do. Like, I'm affectionate as well. Not to say that I don't like receiving. I love to receive affection, but I'm affectionate as well. So if I'm affectionate with the person is not as affectionate with me, it's gonna become an issue at some point. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I'm saying, because think about it, when they put it out, aren't they saying that they want people to be able to give that as well? Like usually if a person say, yo, my love language is affection, they give an affection, but they want to receive affection as well, correct?
I assume so. I would assume
I don't know
so.
the answer.
I'm
I mean, it's
nobody
it's
really
not
knows.
to
It's
say
subjective. I
that
would assume
that,
so. Go ahead, Ness.
right. You're definitely gonna want a certain thing, sure, and I don't think it's wrong to express that. I just think that that may not be the only way, and I feel like if the person is capable of providing that for them, then sure, as long as like there's an understanding that like, hey, this I value more, but other things I'm open to, but this is what I value more.
But on a dating app,
the way
I
I
don't
see
know
it. It's
you.
just
Go
this
ahead,
is what I
son.
value.
On it next me. James.
That's the point of the dating app, to talk to them and find out more about them.
But those things
Nah.
could stop people from going further. That's what I'm saying. They're
Right.
like roadblocks.
It could.
And I joke
It
and
could.
laugh. I joke and laugh, but
It could be.
we
Sure.
just gave examples. I say my love languages, all of them, and we just express how it could be all of them. I say my love languages, all of them.
Yeah.
On any given day, certain different things may tickle my fancy. You understand what I'm saying? And like you said,
In a-
I
I
may
agree.
value
In a
certain things a lot more.
relationship,
At that
you're
particular
in
time.
love, right?
Go
You
ahead,
want
Dex.
to have some physical touch, which requires time. Within that physical touch and time, you're giving each other affirmation, and you're doing things and then you may be thinking about the person, and you want to
That's
give
what I
them a
was
gift
saying.
at the same time. A lot of things is overlapping and blending and meshing in a blurry way. So it's kind of hard to just go into like when people say that or declare that on an app, like what are you talking about? You know what I mean? What are you talking about? You get hooked on somebody and they give you a gift and you're in love with them. You're gonna take that damn gift. You're not just gonna be like, I just want time with you. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. Like when I think about the whole love language thing, it's all a big blur. It's a big cloudy blur where you have your things that you really touch you mostly, but you're gonna go with the other things too when you're in love with somebody. You know? Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. So you're
I think
right. I
they all
agree with you in that.
coexist. I think they
But
all coexist.
yeah, but
on
I'm
any
sure.
given
Yeah,
day.
everyone has the main thing. Yeah, physical touch. That's my love language. Great. You know what I mean? I mean, how many people say they just want time? But you would sit there reading books together. You got a book club going on. What you doing there? You know. So. But then let people do that. Sorry, my bad. They might be shout out to book club people. Shut.
People
No,
Hey, let me
my
take a
bad.
nap.
My
Dex.
bad.
Come on.
I would
Dex.
have.
Hey,
I would have bad mouth no
take a
book
nap,
club
Dex.
people, man.
Come
I'm
on,
sorry.
brother.
I like books.
Come
I
on,
read
brother.
too. All right. Hey, oh, yeah. All right,
Damn,
my
brother.
bad. Sorry, I bring that back. I reel that back in. I reel that back in. I love book
That
club
brother's
people.
back. I'm
I
like,
do.
son, you
Shout
might
out
take
all
a
my
nap
book
or
club
something,
people.
Dex. Yeah.
I bring it back, man. I bring it back.
Yeah, Dex
Shout
attack all the
out to
librarians.
sexy
Damn,
librarians,
Dex.
too.
Yeah, Dex. Yeah.
Yes.
Word,
Yeah,
word.
I remember I used to get Scholastic notes
Sorry,
and all
man.
that. You feel
Sorry.
what I'm saying? The
I
Scholastic
jumped out
notes.
the window there. It's late, man. It's late. I jumped out the window. I jumped out the window. I love my book club people.
I'm throwing all my books out the window, Dex. I'm never reading again.
Oh shit.
Damn, Dex.
Anyway, Ness, Dex
Yeah,
is
that's right.
different in a
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah,
but
I
on
think-
a dating
I-
profile, that could be something that turns you away. That was my only point. Like, it turns being real, it turns me away. Like, I see that shit. Like, there's certain things I say. I'm not gonna say all of them, but in this conversation, like when I see my love languages, I'm already like, here we go with the bullshit. I'm cool.
It's nothing like a grounded individual, man. It's nothing like
because what I'm supposed to do, Ness, I'm supposed to message. I agree, Days. I agree. What I'm supposed to do, Ness, I'm supposed to now message you and ask you what's your flexibility. What else are you open to? That's not a fun way to start the process. It's not. Like,
No, I'm not right. I'm not like right. Everybody's gonna have their different approaches, and that's something that's just for you, just a write-off. So that's fine. Like, I'm not saying you have to. Like,
yeah, I don't think that sounds very fun. Like, it don't sound very fun for me to have to hit you up and now be like, oh yeah, so I see that you put words of affirmation. How often do you need words of affirmation? Is that something that's always required? How do you feel about gifts? Like, that shit is whack, nigga. Let's talk about some real shit. Like, I'm cool. But yes, I agree. In a relationship, it is very different. Messages. Oh yeah, same. Yeah. We could wrap up. I see you. But yeah, I just wanted to respond, Ness, because yes, Ness and Dex, I do understand. In a relationship, it's very different. I'm only talking about what repping this thing.
that's a
so
trend.
publicly
That's a trend.
means, like,
the repping
even
so
on
public
even on
is a
Instagram.
trend. Yeah.
What happened, Dex?
Mm-hmm.
That,
like
yeah, that's
everything
what I'm
else,
saying.
like
Yeah,
everything else, like
yeah,
everything else. These it's just showing me that people do not have a mind of their own to really
right.
express what it is that they feeling. It's funny how people like to talk and express as if they being such an individual, but you could clearly see that it's a herd immunity. You get what I'm saying? It's a
It's a simulation.
yes, yes, a clear simulation, man. But people will
Yeah,
talk like they being so authentic though. You know, they
yeah,
speak as if they so authentic. You know,
yeah.
quoting the same rap lyrics, wearing the same clothes. You get what I'm saying? Spitting the same lingo.
Right.
I remember when being able to express yourself so authentically, it was the thing. It was the thing to do. It was the way for people to really get to know you. Because when you think about it, and I remember Jay, you were saying something to me in the past. We had a conversation about like dealing with people. Remember, you was talking about being intoxicated, right? Remember that
Hmm.
conversation? And I still think
Yeah.
about that joint till this day when you was like, yo, but if every time you're around somebody, they intoxicated, how do you know when you're really experiencing that person? And that shit was like,
Yep.
I was like, yo.
Right.
No, because it's in bro, I'm not gonna front. I'm the type of person you give me one thing, I start looking at it in so many different variables. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like even when I'm hanging out with somebody that I'm cool with, if you always twist it, at what point am I really experiencing the real you? You always high, you always drunk, you always horny, you always this, you always something is always on your back, just you feel what I'm saying? Like troubling you, moving you, encouraging you, motivating you. But when am I really experiencing the true you? Even being tired. A person around you being tired all the time. It's like, damn, son, when I'm gonna get you at 100%? You feel what I'm saying? Like for real. And you really start to think about those things, So, you know, even social media, the level of influence by social media with that's what makes it so hard to even like interact with individuals because people have all of these different titles and definitions. And it's like, yo, who are you for you, son? Who are you really are? Do,
Right.
do you even know what that look like? People be like, be yourself. I'll be like, son, they don't know what it look like. That's a lot of pressure telling somebody to be themselves when they don't know what they self look like,
Right.
let alone to know what,
I agree.
what your love language is and what type of, love you want to receive. So it's big, man. It's a big responsibility.
I agree. Yep. And that's kind of the theme of this whole episode. You know what I'm saying?
Responsibility.
Like, yeah. So that's it.
Responsibility.
Word. So thank you, fellas. I think this is a good place to end it. Thank you, fellas, for being here and participating, and
Yes.
listeners and watchers. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with a friend. All of that good stuff. And we will be back next month.